I guess maybe I'm just gonna have to come to grips with the fact that they can't answer the question, or they won't answer the question. Who let the dogs out? It's your boy. The most unlikely to get it finished, the most unlikely to get elected, the most unlikely to get picked, the unlikely candidate, the underdog. I get excited because on some levels I ain't even supposed to be here. And when I say here, I mean alive. Boy, my past is checkered. Is that what you have a checkered past? You know what? I had a girl I was dating. Really loved her, right? And this is before the pandemic. And I told her, I don't think we're gonna be able to see each other for a while because they locking people in. People say you can't even go to McDonald's. Now, you know, when you can't go to McDonald's, it's bad. When all the McDonald's is saying we shutting down, it's bad. That's how I knew the pandemic was a thing. Damn the vaccines. When they start saying you can't go to McDonald's, nobody, and it ain't Christmas or New Year's Day, oh man, it's bad. So I told her, hey, why don't you come stay with me for a while? Come stay at the crib. It's cozy over here. You know how I do. I got the essential oils going. One of them player moves. Even got the Uggs comforter on the couch. You know what I mean? Because some women like come take the shoes off and then, you know, kind of cover their feet, you know. Get the Uggs comforter. Yeah, some of y'all don't even know Uggs make comforters. I didn't either until whatever. You know what she said to me? Now imagine me. I said, hey, come stay with me. We're gonna ride it out through the pandemic. We're gonna be cozy. We ain't gotta go outside. We ain't gotta do nothing. Just hang out. You good? She said, I don't know, because your past is real questionable. It's kind of checkered. What? Excuse me, say what now? You heard me. Your past kind of checkered. I don't know. And I was so offended. I was like, what the? Are you serious? But it is kind of funny, though. Maybe it is kind of checkered. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. I was offended, though. But anyway, we ain't here to talk about my questionable past or checkered past or nothing like that. You know, just having a little fun before we get into it. Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg. I like Mark Zuckerberg. You know, he's not perfect. He's just like anybody else. You know, we got our good ideas and bad ideas. But he's been able to carve a niche for himself. That's phenomenal. It reshaped the world on some levels. Facebook is amazing. I ain't on Facebook like that. I mean, I got a profile, but I don't be on there because I feel like some things that are in the past needs to be left in the past. That's my whole thing. And what Facebook allows is people in your past to resurface. You know, old girlfriends, old boyfriends, old teachers, you know, cousins you beefing with, you just vow never to talk to, and don't nobody talk to them, but they on Facebook though. Like, and then Facebook will remind you too. Like, remember this moment? Say no, I remember the moment. I was trying to forget the moment. Don't remind me. Facebook will put some BS in your face sometime, but it's dope because it helped keep us all connected. The problem was, though, it started censoring on a different level. Now, when you have a platform like Facebook, you gotta have some kind of social responsibility, right? You gotta figure out what kind of platform it is. Just like if you're gonna have a mainstream TV channel, if you're gonna allow cussing, porn, drugs, guns, whatever, you got to still curate it on some level. But if it's for the people, it needs to be for the people. You know, you got to let the people speak. Let them talk. Let them say what they got to say. And so when people started getting censored and couldn't say what they got to say, that's when people started looking at Facebook like, what is this, man? Like, now I feel some kind of way because my friends are here. all these people from my checkered past are here, but I can't even say what I want to say. I don't know if I want to be here. So that has to get addressed. And a lot of people's like, well, why is this? And so you got people whose accounts are banned, shadow banned, put in the alley, whatever they call them now. And that was the thing. And people speculated why. Well, I remember putting something on Instagram, and we know Facebook owns Instagram. I think they still own Instagram, and it got snatched off. It had something to do with the vaccine, the COVID stuff. And I thought it was good information, but they snatched it off. And I'm thinking, why is it every time I put something up here about the corona stuff and everything, it gets snatched off? Like, what's happening? I didn't know about the censorship stuff and the policies and procedures and terms of service as it referred to that. And so that's why the stuff just started disappearing. Pissed me the hell off because I thought some of the content was good. And it really wasn't my content like that. It was really just trying to spread the information. So I thought, well, maybe because this ain't your content, you can't put it up, and that's why it got snatched. It was because certain things wasn't supposed to be talked about, and I understand that now, and that's where it comes back to Facebook. So now, our girl, Tasha K. Let's talk about Tasha K. I like Tasha K. I really like Tasha K. Actually, the Tasha K show is one of my guilty pleasures. I like to just, see what she talk about because she's really entertaining. Now, I hope she don't kick my ass one day, because that's what happens once you surface to a certain level. Anybody can get it. So I understand her platform, but from a entertainment standpoint, from an engaging standpoint, she got that, and I enjoy it. And she read Mark Zuckerberg. When I say read, I mean went all the way, went in, came back out, looked around, went back in. That's what she did. I'm like, dang, Tasha, for real? I'm here for it though. I'm like, this is Mark though. This is Big Mark, the big dog Mark Zuck. So you need to be careful when you're going in on people like that, because I still feel some kind of way about billionaires, because I feel like they got so much money that if you try them, you're just gonna lose on so many levels. Like, it's gonna get weird. That's the thing that I don't like about playing with the idea of playing with billionaires. Now, keep in mind, I ain't never messed with a billionaire like that across the billionaire, but you still get a little leery when you realize the power and the magnitude and the scope of the kind of person you're dealing with. So you got to be real careful with that. And so that's one of my issues with it. So anyway, let's look at what Tasha said when she read Mark Zuckerberg, and let's get into it.
That's my boy. Ooh, brown nosing. Oh my God. I just love when people get called out on it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how Kevin Hart now is trying to keep his coins together after coming for me and saying that I was extorting him. And I was like, dude, did you not know how much we made off of that interview? Like, what? Extortion? I would never. Anyway, karma has a way of showing people. Like I said, I don't want him to lose everything, but sometimes you want people just to feel it just a little bit. Leave me alone. Focus on your own lane. So Mark Zuckerberg, after Elon is sitting next to the president-elect, they thought Elon was going to be out of here. They thought he was going to fail at Twitter. They thought he was making a bad decision. He even started a platform to try to take Twitter out, X out, right? Tried to come for the AI. It's like, Mark Zuckerberg was one of probably not the first, because, we had MySpace and stuff like that. But I'm talking about to really take social media to the next level. It was him.
And she right. Mark really took it there, because I remember back when I was in undergrad in college, and I didn't even know what Facebook was for real. Now this was fake. At that time, MySpace was still a thing, but not for real. MySpace was kind of dying out. But Facebook was starting to pop, and that's when Facebook was more so for college students in its original roots. And so it was one of the things, if you know type of things, but then it just blew up and kind of just counterparted from there. But I remember back then it was such a big thing because you had MySpace, which was popping back then. If you had to be on MySpace, that was just what it was. And then they tried to rebrand it with MySpace 2.0 or something they tried to do. When MySpace was that deal, but when it died. It just fell from the sky. It was really, really messed up. But then Mark took it to the next level when he came with the Facebook stuff and really revolutionized social media at the time. Because YouTube was there, and YouTube was just as good then as it is now. It's just we didn't know what it was. Like I think with the YouTube piece, we couldn't conceptualize what it was going to be. Because if we really knew what YouTube was going to be then, that would have been a whole other thing, but Mark Zuckerberg is really the one who created something special, something different, not new, but a different take on an old idea, I would say. And so he started competing with X, and you see the battle of can we consider Mark Zuckerberg an oligarch? I guess we could. If he's a billionaire industry titan, if that's what we're using as a definition for an oligarch, then Mark Zuckerberg is an oligarch. We definitely know him and Elon are, I'm not going to say enemies. I don't know that. I'm not going to say adversaries, or I ain't even say ops. Low key they are though. I guess we could call them ops because Mark Zuckerberg, he did try to combat X with Threads. And Threads, I know it was gaining traction. I don't know how well it's doing now, but that was a Facebook thing too, a Meta thing too. So I guess you could call them ops, because why would you come up with a competing service with somebody who's on the same side as you? And he definitely donated, I know it was at least $1 million to Trump. And on some levels, I think Zuckerberg thought that he would be standing next to Trump almost the way Elon is. And I'm really getting speculatory when I say this, but it just makes sense, because when you change in regulations and such, it really benefits these tech companies, because it's a lot of research and development, right? It's an R&D kind of game. Like, research it, figure out what the problem is, figure out a way to solve the problem, even though it may be messy at first. But then the government regulations is going to stop you from getting so messy is nasty. See, that's what the government regulations try to do. You gonna be messy, because as humans, we all messy. We try not to be, but we some messy people. But we ain't supposed to be nasty. So the government is the ones that try to keep us from moving from messy to nasty. So if you eliminate these regulations that Elon and Trump is talking about getting rid of, we're gonna see a lot of nasty stuff. Some of it's gonna be the good nasty that we enjoy. Get your mind out the gut. I don't mean that. I don't think, man, because I don't know what AI gonna do. That ain't what this stream about. We don't stream about that on here. But if we're gonna see a lot of nasty things that's gonna develop. And when I say nasty, I mean some of the fallout from how the technology negatively impacts people, some of the collateral damage, and some of the people's feelings about the collateral damage. And so that's what X had over Facebook, because in X you can pretty much say what you want. Hell, you can put your ass on X. You can't do that with Facebook. Yeah.
It was definitely him. And so and he owns a lot of space in it. He is like Google, okay? And to see him now, after he done suppressed us, demonetized us, hindered our freedom of speech, told us when things were inappropriate, even when they weren't, he silences all of the health gurus. If you even remotely try to sell a vitamin, yours is coming down, okay? Candace Owens had to sue him because he tried to play with her platform. you know what I'm saying, over this free speech. And now they got fact finders and, you know what I'm saying, they got AI doing all of this, suppressing the very creators that built his platform, okay? And then tried to turn around and compete with X, thinking because X had a rough start, not knowing that it takes 3 years for a business to get off the ground. So he was literally starting from scratch. He had celebrities on his side because he was pandering, you know, to the Democrats, to the celebrities, to anybody that invited him to a fight, to a game, anywhere. He was pandering and forgot about the very people that helped him to become who he is today. Now, all of a sudden, you went from attacking us on a platform that you built and told us it was for free speech. Then you oppressed our free speech, our First Amendment right, helped other celebrities to do it. Now that Elon Musk is sitting beside President-elect after you tried to launch a competing platform against him, and your platform is nowhere near close to what he's doing when it comes to free speech, now you want to sit down and you want to snitch and say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this. We're taking out the fact finders. We're not going to take down your content anymore because it was wrong.
Well, there's a lot of truth to what she said. There's a lot of truth to that. Is it all true? I guess it's a matter of opinion. But here's where I agree with, and here's what I don't agree with. What I agree with is that's how I look, and that's what I believe. X was having a hard time getting out the ground, and you know we all doubted it. It was Twitter. You're tweeting, it's Twitter. We tweet. That's a thing though. So like, since it's called X now, if you post something, I ain't been on X in a minute or Twitter in a minute. I got one, but I ain't even posted it. Okay. Now that we on X, because when we were on Twitter, the whole catch was when you post something, it's a tweet. So now that it's X, when you post something, is it still a tweet? Because it kind of throws the branding off a little bit. I'm just saying, but I don't know if that's still the case. You know, but whatever. It was having a rough start because a lot of us didn't believe that was even going to work. A lot of us looked at it like, all right, Elon got Twitter now. That ain't going to go. But then we couldn't knock. You can't knock Elon like that because Elon, he gets stuff done. You know, so when you look at power players like these people, you can't really, they're never out of the game because that's how they got to be where they at. You know, they may make some wrong turns and some wrong choices, but they risk takers and they put their money where their mouth is, and that's how they got as big as they are. And so we always looking at like, he ain't gonna be able to do that. Oh shoot, okay, now he's doing something with it. And then he changed his name to X, and he's like, this is weird. Why would he change his name to X? Like, what is this gonna be? And then he did it, and now it's starting to go. And then we had the whole movement of X, formerly Twitter, and that took a while. And now, you know, we're comfortable saying on X, and we know what it is. And like she said, it takes a business 3 years to get off the ground. Now, let me jump on my soapbox real quick. As someone with a master's in business and administration and information technology management, that's me. Yeah, that's me. That's me. And I like to talk about it because I barely graduated high school. Okay, I was the most unlikely to do any of that. All right, I was outside, all in the grass, all on the front porch back in high school. So the fact that I even graduated high school was a miracle. So the fact that I have a graduate degree now is weird, really. But my point, where I'm going with that is, that's what you're taught in undergrad and business school and in grad school. It takes roughly 3 years. You want to prepare 3 years to get a business off the ground, because even if it's a great idea, you're raising capital, you have your plan, but you need to modify your plan. Then times are changing, and certain times to execute products and stuff. Then you got your marketing campaign, you got your scheduling on that, and you got to revise things. You got to get out of the red and get into the black, you know, because you always start in debt for real. So it does take 3 years, and it doesn't matter how small or how big. Now we do see things shoot up because we're in the startup era. So we see things shoot up, but on average, 3 years is a 3-year mark. And that don't mean that the business won't make a little bit of money. We're just talking where it really starts getting its engine rolling, where it's really, really starting to go. And so that's something we didn't look at when we were looking at X. We just was looking at it like, all right, it ain't as big as this right now. It's failing right now. Now realizing it ain't failing, it's transitioning. So that's what she was saying. And I think Mark, being the businessman that he is, the savvy guy, was looking like, all right, I see the weakness. Like Pac said, I peeped the weakness in the rap game and sold it. You peep the weakness and sew it up. Like, all right, I see where you weak at. All right, we got Instagram. Dear Facebook, we got Instagram. Let me do a competitor. Let me do Threads. Let me just take your model and run it up and then advertise on Facebook and Instagram because I got these marketing platforms that's way bigger right now. Makes a lot of sense. That's one of them things where from a sinister point of view, Mark Zuckerberg would have been stupid not to try it if he knew he had the staffing. Then he obviously had the know-how because he was successful with Facebook and he had the money to market it. However, X was in a space that's different than Facebook, YouTube, Instagram for a reason. And Elon is also a genius as well, so he knew what he was doing. And there we go. And so it's like, all right, now that he's seeing this popping up, X is popping. I think Mark is kind of like, well, let me figure out how I can steady compete. One move would be, what does X have over Facebook? X has more of a freedom of speech platform. Facebook has more of a curated censored platform. Well, let's reduce the censorship and see if it competes with X. Let's see.
Made us do it. Go, Jasmine, go.
At the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And, like everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And now I'm generally like pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
He threw it out there. Now, is that really snitching though? I don't know if that's really snitching. See, where I come from, that ain't snitching. Where I come from, snitching is this. If I do it with you. So if we do something together, so let's say, I'm not advocating for crime, but let's just go with this. And I think we're going too far with the whole what is snitching. From where I come from, if you're an innocent bystander or whatever, somebody robs a store. They rob the store, you see them rob the store, somebody gets hurt, whatever, and the police are canvassing the area. Hey, did you see anything? And you saw something. Oh, yeah, I saw 2 people run out of there and they ran that way. That ain't snitching. That ain't snitching. But that is labeled as snitching. Now it's like, you better not say nothing. Snitches get stitches and don't do this and don't nobody want to say nothing. That ain't snitching. Even in office, I would get constituents that would call and they would say, I got this issue, yada, yada, yada. And, and I said, well, why don't you call the police, ma'am? I'm not a police officer. Well, no, I don't want to do this, Alderman, because, I don't want to get labeled as a snitch. I don't want to get in trouble in this. And all they're doing is reporting somebody selling dope in front of their house. Somebody, just got shot on the corner. And that, that's where they stay. It's like, that's not snitching. You saw it, this happening in your space. Now this is what is snitching. Let's go back to the liquor store or the store model. You and your friend or your homeboy decide, hey man, we finna go hit this lick. We finna rob this store. Y'all go rob the store and y'all both get caught. And now one of y'all starts talking about what happened and start throwing the other one under the bus. That's snitching. Because the fact is, y'all did it together and now y'all want to throw it, y'all want to destroy each other. The witnesses who saw you do it that don't know y'all, that ain't snitching. They just telling what happened for their own benefit. But if y'all did it together, you playing dirt, you get dirty. You was doing it too. And now you want to snitch. So that's how I understand snitching from where I came from. And yeah, in all the hoods across America, it has grew. Whereas if you talk to police at all, you a snitch. And it's like, who wants to live in a lawless society? Who wants to live in a society without police, right? That's kind of crazy. You don't want to do that. None of us want to do that. So I don't know if this is particularly snitching. Now, should he have threw biting the administration outside like that? I don't know if I would have did that. But if it's true, it's true. And he a billionaire, so I don't give a damn. What they gonna do to me? I'm on Facebook. I'm King Matter. King Matter say what he want to do. Do what he want to do.
Snitching. He should just be a gossip blogger at this point. Now you want podcast snitching, talking about, oh, you took that. You know how many creators lost their pages behind trying to tell people that their whole plan, that Fauci and everything were making up? You know what I'm saying? He was the main one. And let's be honest, that all of that C stuff, that virus stuff started under the Trump administration. Okay? So it was after the fact that you decided to come behind what these pharmaceutical companies and the government was saying to say that, oh, we're not going to take it down because it's true. But did you ever give the creators back their pages that they lost, their monetizations that they lost, their businesses that they lost? Because you were trying to brown nose to an administration that just put you in the ass again.
Oh. So I never really knew what brown nosing meant. I guess that is what brown nosing means, but that's what happened according to that interview. And we're gonna get into that interview a little bit more too, but on Joe Rogan. But the thing is, he kind of bent to the wheel of that administration. I can see why, because if they're trying to look at it from an administrative standpoint, I'm not talking about what's wrong or right here. I'm talking about what is. If you're the government, if you're the governing body of an institution, and the institution that we talking about right now is United States of America, you need to control the narrative to keep public chaos down. That's why people say, well, the media lies to you, whatever. They do selectively tell you the truth. And they do that because they have to push a narrative. Some of them narratives are horrible and some of them are good. But the whole point is to control the public. Do you know what would happen if aliens landed in Washington and then the news just told you that? You would have mass pandemonium, people questioning religions, violence, all kinds of stuff. People wouldn't come out the house. It would get wild. And if you was in charge of what you're going to do, you're just going to tell them and let that happen. Now you're going to lose. You don't have full control of the people anyway. You never will. But you're going to lose even more control than you have. So what you're going to do is curate that narrative. Like, you're going to spin it. I ain't saying it's good or bad. I'm saying that's what you're going to do if you're smart, because you want to still control what's happening. So that's why the government does that stuff. And I do think they go too far sometimes with the control part, because you want people to still live. They still need to do their own thing. Less government control is good in some capacities. And sometimes some people take that too far. And when they were trying to explain what happened with the pandemic and stuff, and people were posting what they were posting, that we had a direct conflict. Because on one hand, the Constitution gives us freedom of speech, but then on the other hand, they want to curate the speech that you give. They want you to have freedom to speak on what they want you to speak on, and that's janky as hell. But that's what happens, and so that's what happened to Mark. He said the Biden administration called and told him, "Man, take that stuff down, man. Get rid of all that Corona stuff. Don't put it up there. None. Don't even talk about the Corona beer. Don't talk about no viruses. Don't talk about no beer. Don't talk about none of that. Get rid of it. We don't want to see it. Take it down. Take it down, King Meta. Take it down." That's what they were saying. And he did. He was doing it like, man, all right. But then he started thinking like, wait, man, I keep doing this and Elon winning. So they doing over X. You can put Corona stuff up there. Beer, the virus stuff. You can nudity and all kind of stuff over there. I want to compete. And so what is he doing? He's trying to compete.
Because Elon, I can't even be mad at Elon at this point, even though I know that he is the what do you call that thing that's on the mark of the beast? You know, y'all can fight with energy like that. I don't. I go the other way, okay? Because it ain't my business. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a hero or Spartan or nothing like that. It's between you and them. But when it comes to this situation, I would say now he's out here using huge platforms to come out and plead to the Trump administration not to, fine him. Because let me tell you something. When I tell you they get fined so much, they get so much scrutiny, and things like that. And now TikTok may not be leaving because he thought he was going to have leverage after he came for TikTok's business and after he came for Threads business. And then you shitted on the very creators that helped you to get there. I like Google's stance. Google don't be getting in none of that. Google stays so neutral. They pay their little fines. They make sure we get our checks. We good. But all of this here, Google didn't even take down our videos. They just put disclaimers under, hey, the government say that this ain't real. Go ahead, proceed, watch your video. But listen at this, y'all. Hold on, I got another video. Hold on, let me make sure I get this.
Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. I started building social media to give people a voice. A lot has happened over the last several years. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political. Recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. We're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. We're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. Simplify our content policies, get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender. We're changing how we enforce our policies. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations, bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. It's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. Now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. Finally,
isn't that funny?
Now, what we just saw is the new terms and conditions for Facebook. That's what Zuckerberg was talking about. He finna change it. He's finna try to compete with X. So that means it's finna get wild. It's finna get real wild, wild west out here. I might get back on Facebook. Now, see, I was talking about checker past at first. I know. But in order to make this thing grow that I'm trying to do, I really need to stream on as many platforms as possible. So I'm thinking once I get a hold of this whole YouTube thing, stream on X, stream on Facebook, especially if they finna do that, Instagram, and just see what's up. Just boom, live everywhere, syndicated. Just do the thing. That's what I'm thinking about. We'll see how that's gonna go though, because that gets complicated, and this is a one-man band right now. But this ain't about me right now. We're talking about Zuckerberg and Tasha K. Tasha K going in on them, calling them out.
Similar to X. Now you want to join in and try to do what X is doing after you try to take them down? And now you want to blame it on the Biden administration when all this stuff came, when you... He was the one that started all the censoring. I'll never forget. I actually posted a video from the Senate regarding those virus issues. And what did they do when they shadow banned my page, y'all? They shadow banned my page. AI picked up and said it was fake news. I said, well, it's coming from the government. How was it fake? He was even shadow banning my pages when we was posting Trump debating. I said, why they ain't shadow banning when Biden was speaking? But when we post Trump, all of a sudden it's fake news. And we're like, this is a debate. What are you doing? Why are you involved in these conversations? You're supposed to facilitate the platform. Let us speak freely. As long as ain't no cheering getting done wrong, as long as ain't no crazy sexuality shit going on, no animal cruelty, you stay out of grown folks' business. Now he worried because he know what Elon finna do. Elon said, he tried to come for me, I'm coming for you. He said, oh, Lord Jesus. I said, boy, how the tables have turned. Don't let that man slide up. It's going down in America. Absolutely. It's going down. Moving on, y'all.
It is going down. And we're going to see what this looks like as the policies and stuff change, man. We're going to really see how things are going to develop. And it's real interesting that this stuff is happening now. And I think we're going to see some really good stuff with that, but we're going to see some crazy stuff with it too. We're going to see some real shenanigans that's going to ensue when it comes to what Zuckerberg and is doing with Facebook, and when we see what other stuff is developing with X, because I think we're going to see some stuff with X that's going to pop off a little more too, because there's still businesses, man. It's still going to be a level of competition here. That's just what it is. But you know, I want to see a little bit more about what Zuckerberg said in that interview, because there was only a piece of it. Hold on, let me pull this stuff up here. Let's hear a little bit more about what Zuckerberg had to say, just so we're not taking it out of complete context. What this is the Joe Rogan Experience, great podcast as well. But Mark Zuckerberg went on there, and that's what Tasha K was speaking of, because that was where Mark Zuckerberg was when he was doing the original interview.
But there's clearly you're moderating at scale that's beyond the imagination. The number of human beings you're moderating is fucking insane. Like, what is...
So what he's talking about is of why there's censorship in the first place, because they're moderating several people across the whole planet, because they still got to facilitate the platform, because moderation and censorship are key, and they're really close cousins, but it's not necessarily the same thing. And so it's got to be a sweet science, some kind of dance to it to make it all make sense. Let's listen to Ian a little bit of what he was saying.
Well, what's a Facebook? How many people use it on a daily basis? Forget about how many overall. Like, how many people use it regularly?
It's 3.2 billion people use one of our services every day.
That's
it's wild.
More than a third of the planet. That's so crazy.
Yeah, and it's
almost half of Earth.
Well, on a monthly basis, it is probably half. Of it. But
so I want to say that though, there's a lot of like hypercritical people that are conspiracy theorists and think that everybody's a part of some cabal to control them. I want you to understand that whether it's YouTube or all these, whatever place that you think is doing something that's awful, it's good that you speak, because this is how things get changed. And this is how people find out that people are upset about content moderation and censorship. But moderating at scale is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
What we were talking the other day about the number of videos that go up every hour on YouTube, and it's bananas. It's bananas. That's like, to try to get a human being that is reasonable, logical and objective that's going to analyze every video. It's virtually impossible. It's not possible. So you got to use a bunch of tools. You're going to get a bunch of things wrong. And then you have also people reporting things. And how much is that going to affect things? You could have mass reporting because you have bad actors. You have some corporation that decides we're going to attack this video because it's bad for us, get it taken down. There's so much going on. I want to put that in people's heads before we go on. Like, understand the kind of numbers that we're talking about here.
And that's the thing, too. You do want some level of censorship, but it's got to be the right kind of censorship. What I mean is, you don't want terrorist stuff. You don't want violence against children or seniors, really violence against anybody, but you understand what I mean, like extreme stuff. You know, you don't want to advocate for that on these platforms. And I think on some level that should be censored. But when somebody speaks their opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent, I know it may hurt, but they should be able to do it. You know, don't nobody like it when somebody says something bad about you. I don't want nobody saying anything bad about me, but that comes with the game. You know, nobody likes that. But there's no way to have freedom of speech without taking the good with the bad. You know, you got to take the rain with the sunshine. Unfortunately, I think the best hope we can have is we have less rain and more sunshine. So it's really, really complicated when you deal with these things on this level. So I do empathize with what the magnitude of what Zuckerberg has to deal with. However, let the people speak. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot of in this upcoming Trump administration. It's going to be good on some levels. It's going to be really, really ugly on some levels as well, because you're going to see a lot of people exploit these platforms with a lot of hate speech. That's just going to happen. That's going to come with it. And then you're going to see some people who are going to find a different level of expression, a different level of freedom. And that's going to be special. That's what we want. We definitely want to be a part of that, for sure.
Now understand you have the pandemic, and then you have the administration that's doing something where I think they crossed the line, where it gets really weird, where they're saying what you were saying. They were trying to get you to take down vaccine side effects, which is just crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, it's so complicated, this system, that I could spend every minute of all of my time doing this and not actually focused on building any of the things that we're trying to do. AI, glasses, like the future of social media, all that stuff. So, I mean, I get involved in this stuff, but in general, we have a policy team. There are people who I trust. They're the people who are kind of working on this on a day-to-day basis. And the interactions that I was just referring to, I mean, a lot of this is documented. I mean, because Jim Jordan and the House had this whole investigation and committee into the kind of government censorship around stuff like this. And we produced all these documents, and it's all in the public domain. I mean, basically, these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. And it's like, these documents it's all kind of out there.
Oh, did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we were, but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails, the emails are published. It's all kind of out there. And,
can you imagine if he recorded those calls, though, where you had people from the Biden administration calling and acting a fool about it? That would be wild. That would be so wild if he did that. You know, that would be crazy, especially if that stuff would have came out during the Kamala Harris campaign. So I think it was wise for him not to do it. I think it would have been good for our entertainment and definitely good for my business as far as reacting to content and stuff and giving my commentary. But for the Biden administration, and even for Meta, that would have looked crazy, because that would have made Meta look untrustworthy with conversations, and that would have made the Biden administration look scandalous as hell.
And they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They want us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
So let's get into this part. Should that happen? Should the agencies get involved and start tearing down these companies and picking at these companies? Section 230 of, oh man, I can't even think of the exact name of the act right now. Let me look at my notes, man. It's Section 230. I do remember that. That's the legislation piece, because it's a big piece of legislation. Yeah, so it's Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. And what that section talks about is platforms like YouTube, Facebook, X, whatever, should not be held responsible for what independent users upload or say on these platforms. Basically, if Facebook says it, they should be held accountable. Whereas if the person or using Facebook's platform says that Facebook should not be liable, but their users should be held accountable. So when we talked about Tasha K, we know Tasha K is an entertainer, you know, and sometimes when comedians, she's also a comedian. Comedians say things, entertainers say things, or do things that may have some negative implications on people, and people get in their feelings. They may get hurt by it, whatever. It's two sides of that coin. On one side, we all love entertainment, and we wouldn't get entertained without entertainers. So we need the Tasha K's of the world. But then the other side of it is, how far can a Tasha K go? Like she did earlier in this video at the beginning, she was talking about her and Kevin Hart had gotten into it. And of course, we heard stuff about her and the girl named Cardi B. You know, so it's like, how far do you go with entertainment to where it's still entertaining and nobody gets hurt? But then where does it reach defamation territory? That gets tricky, because we don't want to be in defamation territory. Where's the line? Where do we draw the line? And I think, like she also mentioned, Google probably does it best. Google will let you post whatever you're gonna post, and they'll just put the disclaimer saying this ain't real, we ain't got nothing to do with this, yada yada yada. But then that's why you can find anything on Google if you dig deep enough. So I guess when our forefathers had put together the Constitution and freedom of speech, we should have that. Yeah, I'm for it. I believe the right to bear arms. We should have our guns and all that too. It's not about those rights as much as it's about how do we handle those freedoms, you know, because we all go with the idea that there's going to be some level of accountability there. There's going to be human decency on a certain level that should be respected. And we don't show that. We don't have that. Or a lot of people don't have it. Let me not say we or most, but a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people just do what they want to do. They're going to do what they're going to do and dare you to say something about it, and then get mad when you got to censor them. It's funny how all of this stuff comes into play now that we have a president that'll be installed here soon, who was censored. And it's funny how people will say you want freedom of speech, but you're willing to censor certain people. You want freedom of speech as long as people saying stuff that you want to hear. That's crazy. It's messed up. But it's a real thing. That's definitely a real thing. So we definitely want to be sure that we start to be mindful of what we post and enjoy what's coming with some of the social media stuff.
Wow. Yeah. It's just a massive overstepping.
Yeah,
and,
well,
and
I mean,
also,
I think
you weren't killing people. This is the thing about all of this. It's like they suppressed so much information about things that people should be doing, regardless of whether or not you believe in the vaccine. regardless, put that aside. Metabolic health is of the utmost importance in your everyday life, whether there's a pandemic or there's not. And there's a lot of things that you can do that can help you recover from illness. It prevents illnesses. It makes your body more robust and healthy. It strengthens your immune system. And they were suppressing all that information. And that's just crazy. You can't say you're one of the good guys if you're suppressing information that would help people recover from all kinds of diseases, not just COVID, the flu, common cold, all sorts of different things, high doses of vitamin C, D3 with K2 and magnesium. They were suppressing this stuff because they didn't want people to think that you could get away with not taking a vaccine, which is really crazy when you're talking about something that 99.07% of people survive. This is a crazy overstep, but scared the shit out of a lot of people. Red pilled, as it were, a lot of people because they realized, like, oh, 1984 is like an instruction manual. It's like it shows you how things can go that way with wrong speak and with bizarre distortion of facts. And when it comes down to it, in today's day and age, the way people get information is through your platform, through X. This is how people are getting information. They're getting information from YouTube. They're getting information from a bunch of different sources now. And you can't censor that if it's real legitimate information because it's not ideologically convenient for you.
There he goes. Joe Rogan settled it, really. You can't censor that stuff because it's not ideological. Ooh, that's a hard word to say. I bet you can't say it fast. Ideological. But just because it's not what you want to hear, like I was saying. So that's what we're going to wrap up right now on this. And appreciate you hanging out with me. You know, like, comment, subscribe, put your let's keep the conversation going. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comments, because I think this is a conversation that's gonna continue to grow and continue to develop into something that we need to really understand and express our feelings. So until next time, be unlikely, stay unstoppable.